Hey, what's up guys, it's Unleash here today, and we are back with another video on Sonic Frontiers. And in today's video, we have some very disappointing news about the game. Now this news might not take away from the fun factor of the game, not at all, but nevertheless, it's still very disappointing. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's take a look at the news at hand. Onto Twitter, we Sonic Rush. Now before we actually get into this news here, I just want to warn you, there's some minor spoilers here, mostly regarding what the last two islands actually are. But if I'm being totally honest with you, I think you'd rather know about this news now rather than playing the game, because I think it'll hurt you a lot more than when you're playing the game compared to actually before playing the game, so just beware. Rather than after that little spoiler warning, let's get into the news. So here we have a thread from Return of the Mari. Yeah, so Sonic Frontiers very clearly recycles a large chunk of content in a manner that artificially extends the runtime. A thread. Spoilers, obviously. Alright, you've scrolled down. I'm going all in. Let's get this out of the way. Rhea Island and Uranus Island are the 4th and 5th areas of the Starfall Islands. And yeah, we saw this accidentally leak on one of the Sonic official live streams where they're playing Frontiers. We saw the names there, so that's confirmed. They're the same as the first, Kronos Island. And I don't just mean that they use the same grass level theme and play the exact same song from Kronos, which they do. I mean that all three of them were part of one island until they were split in development. Essentially, Sega pulled their colours again. And there we go. That's the disappointing news, man. God damn it. So we were all thinking that, what, 5 massive islands? Whoa, that's gonna be 5 different environments, right? We could have ice, snow, maybe the 5th one could be some sort of cyberspace thing, but no, the last 2 islands reused from Kronos. Alright, but what's even more surprising is that it uses the same music as well. Like, really? Even the music? Wow. Alright, then I'm trying to hide it at this point. The file names for these icons of each of the islands are labeled in a numerical order, except for Rhea and Uranus, which are under the Worlds 1 label. And we can see right here, after that IMGL thing, actually the IMGLS thing, you can see W1, 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 that's for Kronos, Uranus and Rhea. Then for the 4th one, that's going to be Aris Island because it says W2. Then for Chaos, W3. These mini-maps are for Kronos, Rhea, and Uranus, respectively. As you can see, Rhea is literally just a chunk of geometry from Kronos. Uranus seems to be separate and original, but could very possibly be taken from the full Kronos Island. They're all titled Worlds 1. So we can see here, this is the Kronos Island map. A pretty massive map, if I'm being totally honest with you. A lot to do and see on Kronos Island, very good. But then we look at Rhea Island, and yeah, there's no hiding it. This is the exact same thing as Kronos Island. I'll even do a comparison here. The exact same shape, even the objects are in the same place. Like, they're not even trying to hide it at this point. My god, jeez. Then for Uranus Island, at the very least it's fully original. Even if it is still a grass theme, at least the terrain's actually pretty much original for this island. In fact, you can still see parts of Rhea with the geometry intact in Kronos, which has areas suspiciously walled off from the player. And we can see here in the screenshot right now, obviously this is the emulated version of the Switch version of the game. But yeah, there's that section over there where you're not allowed to actually go. And we did see that in one of the screenshots from the EGX demo that I think the AI voice says that you stray too far from the path or something and go back to your mission. I think something like that, I'm not sure. So yeah, they've lost that part of Kronos because it's going to be part of Rhea Island, I think. I'm not too sure. To bring the point home, this is a memo from Eggman talking about the ancients. Now they never spread their influence beyond the Starfall Islands, except he refers to them as 3 piddly islands, not 5. Now I won't try the entire memo here because there are some pretty cool references in there. So I'll just show the important part here. These 3 piddly islands. These memos are voiced as well. It's not just a typo. A vocal recording with remnants of the 3 islands plan means they have to have made the decision to split Kronos into 2 extra sometime in the middle of development. The evidence to support this doesn't stop here. Note Chaos Island, the 3rd area in the game. Before the change of plans, it would have actually been the final area, and it sure seems like it. It's a volcanic themed world, a classic final level trope. And the name Chaos Island thematically fits with the setting of the finale. Notice how gameplay and marketing footage only ever show the first 3 islands, with no signs of Rhea or Uranus, considering how they're indistinguishable from Kronos. Now that's actually false, because in the recent Showdown trailer, we actually did see one of the 2 islands, because we saw that white tower and then the white ninja boss, so we've actually seen one of the islands, but we thought it was Kronos or something else, but yeah. It definitely was not that. However, they could have been presented without any indication of being separate areas. Also notice that there are only 3 rescuable characters. This would have been 1 for each island before they chopped up Kronos. With the memo, Chaos Island, and the characters, the idea of the late addition of these 2 new areas is further supported. So what exactly can be gleaned from this? 1. Sega has not learned a thing in regards to time and resource management. This shouldn't be a shocker. This is always true despite the insistence that next time will be different. This may not be a total rush up of a game, but they still seem fine with recycling existing content to fill out corners on a short notice, something akin to what happened with Colors and Forces. To me, it seems they made the original Chronos first, but they couldn't match the same large scale with Aris and Chaos. So not only did they make the next areas significantly smaller, but they cover their tracks and ease the pacing difference by chopping up Chronos into 3. 2. If they're willing to pad out the game with reused segments functioning as extra worlds, they clearly care a lot about runtime. I mean, they even started marketing it as a selling point later on in the game's release cycle. This is why Colors is my point of comparison. Most likely, they focus hard on making this game long, because of the intense amount of criticism thrown at Forces for being short as hell. But as said before, this has surely led to things being padded out in one way or another. 3. The most important in my opinion, they were definitely willing to recycle content just for the sake of lessening the load. I say most important because it ties into arguments regarding cyberspace. Many of the levels are pieces of existing ones stitched together, some are total copies of one level, and it all comes packaged in only 4 level themes, with visual elements that are all lifted from previous games. We've all seen Green Hill, Chemical Plant, and Sky Sanctuary before. Many, including the developers, argue that these are merely throwbacks for the fans, glossing over the tidiness of nostalgic throwbacks in Sonic. This clearly paints a picture that they were willing to completely reuse content if it was solely for their sake. They didn't need the nostalgia angle at all, and with how off cyberspace feels in both design and control, it could entirely be possible that the whole thing was also a very late addition to increase the game's length. With all this in mind, Frontiers really seems like it fell into the same trappings of other recent Sonic games on the development side. It really sucks that this is still somehow a consistent issue, even in the claimed evolution of Sonic. With this information, the question of what development was like has already opened up. One could argue this game was rushed, the developers were lazy, or they only actually planned around 1/3 of it and made the rest up as they went along. But who's to say? And that's it for that thread. And yeah, overall I pretty much agree with this entirely, mainly the point about Sega. The reason this news ruins the game for me personally is not because, oh, that means we're not gonna have a snow island, because while that is disappointing, it goes a lot further than Frontiers in my opinion. It shows that Sonic games can't reach their full potential because of dumb stuff like this. Iizuka was literally fighting just to get that one extra year for development of the game. And this all goes down to Sega. Sega's not changed one bit. This is still the same Sega back in 2006, 2014, 2017. It's the same Sega. Absolutely nothing has changed here. Sega is still willing to put out rushed games whether it's complete or not. We could have had 5 fully original islands on the same scale as Chronos too. Maybe if the game was given 1 more year perhaps, we could have got that. But who knows? And it's not like they wouldn't have had a game out this year because we had Origins. They could have just delayed Origins to like November time or something like that, maybe even September like Colors Ultimate, and that would have given the game some more development time too, make the game more polished. And then at the end of the day, have Frontiers come out next year instead of this year. That way they can space out the releases even better. You see where I'm going with this? It just shows that Sega is just still the same Sega. They don't really care about the quality of the Sonic games still. While some things have changed with Sonic Team themselves, in terms of Sega, absolutely nothing's changed. Absolutely nothing. And that's why this is so disappointing to me. Because think of the future Sonic games. Even with Frontiers and Forces, those games were lacking in so much potential that was actually just wasted because of development time. And all that was caused by most likely Sega. So what about the games in the future? That possible modern 2D Sonic game could have the same fate as Frontiers, with a lot of things actually just rush the game out, parry out the game, all that kind of stuff. And then even the game after Frontiers. What if that game just feels rushed again and uses more content because of Sega? This is why this uses ruins Frontiers for me. Not because the game will be bad, but because I thought that Sega had actually changed. They were willing to give that 1 year development time extra to Sonic Team because they needed it. But because of all this news right here, this just shows to me that no, Sega's not changed one damn bit. And that's why this news ruins Frontiers for me. I still think the game will be great, but not Sega. Sega, you douchebags, really, honestly. Douchebags. Now to add some more salt to the wound, we have some more details on Aria Island. 4th Island isn't a regular island, it's a story moment where you have 6 main objectives and nothing else. No bosses, no final boss, no cyberspace, levels from 5th Island are marked as 4-X, no collectibles, so basically there are 4 islands. That's why everybody has it at 100%. And yeah, this further shows some more rushing of the game. The 4th Island, well, I'll say a 4th Island, but it's just Chronos again. But the 4th Island isn't even really an island on the same scale as the other ones, it's just some sort of shortened, more simple version of it. Once again, some more rush development because of Sega. Most likely anyways. Anyways, that about does it for today's video. So yes, the 4th and 5th islands of the game are just Chronos Island again. Well, not so much for Arenas Island because that's obviously some original terrain there, but for Aria Island, yeah, that is just some very bad stuff there, man. Now, I need to mention once again, this does not mean I think the game's going to be bad. I'm still very excited for the game, but once again, like I said earlier, it doesn't ruin Frontiers itself. It just means that Sega hasn't changed one damn bit. But what do you guys think of this news? Are you disappointed about all this news or not? Let me know down below. Love to see what you guys have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. don't forget to like, share, subscribe, especially that last one. Don't forget to become unleashed by hitting that join button down below. And remember, it's not necessary. And I will see you all next time. Peace!